Nella prepared to send out the obligatory distress signal. The raiders were long gone with the harvest of a small nearby village. With their jamming devices out of range too, she confirmed sending the automated message. This was the third time this year they raided their world, Landis. Small raids attacked farm villages all over the planet. She shrugged at the uselessness of it. Little help was to be expected. Maybe they could warn off other worlds, she thought, so they could hide some of their produce. The village would manage with the support of others, but it was going to be a hard winter. Raiders were common throughout all civilized worlds. No one could stop a determined and armed group. She wished something could be done about it. Mike was a big man with a big beard, a big belly, and a big generous smile. Trouble was bad for business, and Mike was a businessman. An interstellar trader with his own company, New Frontier Trade. Someday it was going to be big. He had to focus on his role. Mike frowned when his implant chirped. His smile left him for a moment as he set a course for Landis. Change of plans. Closing in, he started to talk into his communicator. This is NFT-001 calling. Call sign NFT-001, requesting landing. The spaceport of Landis was most of the year unused and unmanned. Nella was drying a glass in her bar, which was empty at the time. Bored, she hung with her elbows on the counter. She was from a beaver-like species with skin that lives as much in water as out of it. Except there was little water to swim in this world. Only swamps. Her family came here long ago as refugees, fleeing some government or law. Startled, Nell jerked up when the communicator in the back started to beep. A message from space? Raiders did not bother. Traders only came on set dates. She wondered who it could be. Nell let the communicator replay the message. It automatically translated while keeping some of the original voice. The sounds of a large being rumbled into words. NFT? Nell quickly looked it up. Probably not that weird token thing? Oh, right here it says, Trading Company New Frontier Trading. She quickly tried to remember protocol and responded, NFT-001, this is Landis Spaceport. Proceed to land at the following coordinates at the landing pad. Landing pad 1. Over. Mike's smile got bigger. At the landing pad, he thought, this world seems to lack trade. There must be something he could sell. His mind flew quickly over some of his cargo. Brushes that would change the color of hair in an instant. Thousands of drones that could work in unison to give spectacular light shows. Probably not those. He entered the coordinates in his computer and let it handle the landing while leaning backward and bringing up a view of the planet. No oceans. Huge swamp areas surrounded by farm fields and small villages. The only town also called Landis was the spaceport according to the database. Landis was on the other side of the planet during the initial descent. NFT-001 landing at Landing Pad 1 Landis Spaceport. Coordinates confirmed. Landis had two things. Too much water and it rained endlessly when it moved furthest from its host star, and too little when it approached at its closest. Nell disliked both periods of about 14 days. The only thing she liked here was the big moon. The twin planet, as the farmers like to call it, is technically still a moon. At full twin, it filled a large portion of the night sky and made her long to leave the planet. Luckily, they were in the short period between extremes, and she could walk to the spaceport with only mild discomfort. Near the landing pad was a roofed-over section with a steel table and chair, exposed to the winds on all sides. Kids had put graffiti on the ceiling. Clouds before a large red star. Clouds during the heat season. A profanity according to the local population. Nell chuckled. She didn't understand the symbolism, but she understood the rebellious nature of kids all too well. A large freighter descended swiftly, causing a small storm that ruffled Nell's hair. Not too fussed, she saw it brake hard and touch down. Bit of a show-off, she wondered. She no longer wondered when the ramp lowered and a figure dressed in colorful clothes disembarked, his demeanor a dead giveaway. Definitely a show-off. Energetically bouncing, he came in her direction, a species she never encountered before. Human, her computer said, when she looked up the freighter's call sign before, making her little wiser. Their homeworld was far from here, and besides an occasional trader, there had been little contact with them in this part of the galaxy. Hello there, I'm Mr. Mike Tumbler. Who do I have the pleasure of dealing with? The man said, his manners all charm. His hands fidgeted distractingly as if he was a little nervous. Nella did not fall for it. The stone-cold gaze he scanned his surroundings with was at odds with how this being portrayed himself. It only lasted a fraction of a second, then his smile reached his eyes again. The spaceport official introduced herself as Nell, A cute beaver-like creature with intelligent big black eyes that looked at him intensely. He should not think of her as cute, Mike cursed himself. She was smart, too smart for his liking. It would make his job harder. I received that distress call. Are there still people in trouble? Mike asked. He was uncomfortable. He came here prepared as a gadget trader. Distress reliever might be a bigger package than he could deal with. Still, there was the possibility to complete plans much faster. It would catapult him into the elite of the elite when he gets back home. Perhaps we can discuss how I can be of assistance while inspecting my ship. Mind, of course, I am just a simple gadget trader. I am not a distress relief vessel. Mike waved invitingly with his hands to the still open ramp. Nella nodded and followed the man inside the ship. She entered what was obviously the biggest room, the cargo hold. It was packed full of shelves and boxes, leaving only small paths in between. She pointed at a few random boxes. One contained plastic flowers that would sing when watered. Another had fluffy dolls from a popular series. This trader had the newest gadgets one could wish for, Nell thought. Even in the industrialized world, such dolls would be in high demand. It looked good. Almost too good to be true. Nella decided to inspect the rest of the ship first and have a look at the manifest next. The rest of the inspection was over before she knew it. It was as if it was made to be inspected, everything visible and easily accessible. It was obvious there were no hidden compartments anywhere. Who was this so-called human Mike with his friendly smile and stone-cold eyes? She checked the manifest and decided to check one more box. There should be dolls from the new hit series, Cats in Space. About the cutest imaginary species one could imagine. Her absolute favorite. She just wanted to have a look. Just doing her job, of course. Oh, right, those. Go ahead, Mike said, opening the top drawer and revealing an array of colorful dolls. Nell let out an involuntary squeal of delight. They looked even more real than in the vidcasts. She could not help herself from asking, "For how much will these go?" Feigning disinterest, Mike said, "About 5 standard units, depending on the local economy. How much for a beer in these parts?" "There is only one place selling beer, that's my pub." "A beer will cost you 2 SU, Nella answered, hoping to make some kind of deal. Mike pretended to think a bit, holding his hand over his chin. His implant chirped again. "Let's make it 4 standard units then, or 2 beers. Deal?" Mike extended his hand, waiting for her reaction. Yes, yes. Beer, beer. I mean 2 beers," and she touched the man's hand, not knowing his customs. "I am not sure how you can help the people with them being raided, but I think your wares can put a smile on some faces. Perhaps that is all that matters for now," Nell continued. Mike solemnly nodded, saying, "I'll do my best, ma'am." Mike closed the box again, still holding on to one of the Kitten MK3 action doll color red packages, and asked, "How far to the pub?" Nella showed her 2 front teeth and motioned for him to follow. It started to rain again, and she extended the brim of her hat. Mike just put on a hat and let the rain flow from his waterproof jacket. Mike was congratulating himself. First contact. The Secret Services had done a pretty decent job in creating his digital profile and matching it with a ship full of cargo. Earth had been listening in for a few centuries now. No direct contact was established as Earth's governments decided first to analyze and gather as much data as possible. The faked first contact was only with deliberate searching available, consisting of a scant few records from a wandering family of traders with a disputable reputation about the truth. Humans were described as friendly, often operating alone. An alien anthropologist had picked up on it and used it as further proof for his thesis that intelligent species always acted alone or in small groups. Some attention could not be avoided, but the attention had the governments worried. Or not the attention per se, but the nature of it. Why did that anthropologist think that intelligent species cannot act as a large group? The anthropologist group, structurally underfunded even when a one-sided contact with aliens was established, now received proper funding and started to delve up curious statements of facts that, well, seemed curious, not logical at all. The discussions continued into the night. Mike presented various gadgets and items from his ship, demonstrating their uses and advantages. The villagers were particularly fascinated by the practical tools and novelties that could make their lives easier amidst the constant threat of raids. Mike noticed the shift in the atmosphere. The initial wariness was giving way to cautious optimism. He took the opportunity to delve deeper into their problems, learning about the raiders and the challenges faced by the community. "These raids," Mike asked during a quieter moment, "why haven't you been able to stop them? Surely there's something more that can be done." Nella sighed, her eyes reflecting the weariness of repeated struggles. It's not just us, Mike. Every planet in the Federation faces similar issues. The raiders are organized in small, highly effective groups. They strike swiftly and leave before anyone can mount a proper defense. It's like fighting shadows. Mike nodded thoughtfully. I see. It sounds like a deeply rooted problem. Nella looked at him, her weariness momentarily giving way to curiosity. What about humans? Do you face similar issues? Mike hesitated, carefully choosing his words. Humans, we might have a different approach. Back on Earth, we developed certain strategies and methods to deal with such threats. Maybe we can introduce you to some of these concepts. I hope you can forgive us if they seem unconventional. Nella tilted her head, intrigued. What do you mean by unconventional? Mike took a deep breath. It's a long story, but we have a concept called war. It's not something we're proud of, but it has shaped our history. If you trust us, we can share some of our knowledge and help you organize better defenses. Nella's eyes widened.